All right, let's look at some stocks. VYNE. This is, I think, a biopharma. Yeah, look, I mean, the hedge funds are off for the rest of the year, so there's kind of a really a market stabilizing force out there. So think about that, I guess.
𝗘𝗍𝗘𝗪.
All right, so what is Vyne Therapeutics all about? All right, so Vyne has something called VYN202, or depression. No, not for depression. Hold on. I didn't get the, to check out Blitz. Would have been fun. I heard that Boaz Weinstein drew Magnus on time control. Odds. Yeah, DeepSeek is a problem, man. DeepSeek is a problem for NVIDIA. Yeah, I don't think there's any difference between the race mates of ketamine. I spent a lot of time on that. Nobody even has a crystal structure, so nobody can really claim. And clinically, these drugs have so much variance that there's no real way to say which drug is quote-unquote better or not. They're pretty much all the same. RS, racemic mixture, all three have been tried. All voodoo. All depression is voodoo. BET inhibitors have not had any success in the clinic. They've not been useful for anything practically. Yeah, so should we look into BET? So I guess when I look at a biotech company and they say, oh, it's a BET inhibitor, right? Like, the question is, what is that? So there's a few ways to do that. ChatGPT is actually kind of replacing a lot of workflow for a lot of people. But, you know, one way to look at it is say BET protein. Just Google BET protein. Okay, and there it is. The bromodomain and extraterminal VET proteins. So it looks like it's a family of proteins, and you can see that you got BRD2, BRD3, and BRD4. And again, you kind of have to learn these. And so if you want to do something like this, but what you can do is you can actually keep a list of, even if you want, proteins in biology. So I have this little list. I actually don't think it's on this computer. Oh, okay. Actually, here's a proteins list. So take a look at what this looks like. It's kind of neat. And again, this might be overkill, but if you have a lot of time and a lot of dedication, I have a day job, so I can't keep these lists as updated as maybe I'd like. I don't know why I'm flubbing here on Excel. But these are all on my GitHub, by the way. So everything you see is on GitHub. So here's a list of proteins. I just made a table, and ChatGPT helped me a little bit with this. And so you have the protein name, the OMIM number, which is kind of neat. OMIM is a little database. You have the chromosome in the arm, the gene name, its cellular location, which is really important, as you've learned from watching my streams. Stuff inside cells, outside cells, very important. Just give me a second while I place some more trades. Seems like all market software is buggy, which is annoying. Our software, I was worried, I was upset and almost nasty. It's kind of ruined my day that our software is a little buggy. And then in our buggy software, people are complaining that Robinhood software is buggy. Now I'm complaining that the interactive software is buggy. So, you know, I don't feel so bad. And the other day I was like, look, our prices, our split's wrong for Palo Alto. I was like, how could this be? And the guys showed me that Google's split for Palo Alto is wrong too. And I was like, I still demand perfection. Desire, that thirst for perfection like I do. How you know you're a boss, like Rick Ross. Anyway, what were we doing? BRD. Sorry, I just got lost in all the chicken goodness. So there's BRD234. And if you want, you can read a paper about this stuff, but they're kind of, they've been drugged. So that's the kind of the next thing I like to look at is like, have there been drug companies that have tried to make interacting with these proteins into drugs? Rigetti's falling out of bed a little bit. So, you know, that's probably one of the most important things, is that no drug company has one idea that is so unique no one else has tried it, unless it's a good idea. like cassava. But most companies, if they see something in the literature, they see some other company doing it, they might say, okay, maybe we should do it too. And that happened with BRDs. So lots of companies tried to do that. And this is an explanation of the function. I would say this is just sort of maybe a class or like a semantic relationship. Yeah, it's some kind of like ontological marker. And again, how you make this is up to you. So like this would be like structural. EGFR is kind of like signaling. So is endothelin, so is EPO. So like there's all kinds of different ways to, here's an ion channel. So then you could sort of sort them or like maybe put them in a SQL database or, try to do something special. I've been playing around with OWL and RDF schema. And then I also been playing around with just different JSON formats and different ways to structure data like this. By the way, every guy on Wall Street is like this. 57 came out, all of Wall Street was bumping it, pretending they were gangsters. They used to call traders at Morgan Stanley. What up, gangster? Like, yes, hello, Martin. There were like 3 black traders on Wall Street, and they'd be like, what up? They were so excited to hear. Yeah, BET, like, you can't, it's possible to take a target that hasn't worked and make it work. The devil's always in the details, and you can't just paint broad brushes, you know what I mean? But, in general, if a mechanism hasn't worked for a disease, it ain't about to start working with your drug. That's the mistake a lot of people make. Like, you just got to look back and see guys already tried, didn't work. You're rolling the boulder up the same hill. A lot of drug companies won't do that. But some drug companies, because they're publicly traded or whatever, there's almost like feel like they're forced to do it in some ways. So I didn't even look at what these things do, but I like ACS a lot. So this is one of the best journals, Journal of Medicinal Chemistry, possibly my favorite journal, period. So again, here's another thing that you could put in a spreadsheet. If you really want to, you can go to literature. Okay, so I have a little literature page too. This is on my OneDrive. This isn't publicly available, but I can, as soon as I am comfortable putting it in there, I will. Let me link it at least properly for myself at least. And this isn't, I haven't really done much with this file, but you can see that there's some, all right, you can kind of keep it updated if you want. So I'll show you how to do that. So let's say I want to go to JMedChem, and a lot of people say, Bart, how do you know so much about pharmaceuticals? It's called reading. Crazy idea, I know. But if you like to read a lot, when I was a kid, I used to read all day long. My parents were concerned that I read so much. I said, you're going to lose your eyesight. As, concern in Albania, maybe. I was really upset when I had to get glasses. I was like unusually upset. But journals have changed a little bit over time. Some of them have this still classical thing where they have a volume number, which is good. And that you can actually get physical issues if you're one of those kinds of people like me that likes physical issues. In reality, most people are reading PDFs these days, which I read PDFs all day long. It's no big deal. That's the way 99.9% of people do it. It isn't bad to have a little library if you want. So anyway, what you do is you pull up this JMedChem. This is editorial. You don't read JMedChem for its editorials, that's for sure. But there's a PMID number here too, which is nice. Again, you can put in your own statistics if you want. You can put in all kinds of things for this stuff if you want. So here's another editorial. 21,641. And again, if you want to be really smart about biopharma, read JMedChem. It's about as good as it gets. You want to be a bozo? You Or just guess. You want the surgical precision of Martin Shkreli. That's how you do it. Now here's a paper about a protein called hMGB1. Now what's hMGB1? Of course I know what it is because I'm Martin Shkreli. You don't know what it is because you're not. And so we get back to the point, which is put it in the spreadsheet. Is that hard? hMGB1. Okay, now we go look what it is. hMGB1, and we could do it in, we do OMIM. Go to the database. Ah, what is that? High mobility group box. I wonder what that is. Maybe it has something to do with immunology. What's the OMIM number? 163905. Okay, let's see. What's the cytogenetic location? Chromosome 13, Q arm. What's the gene name? hMGB1. It's a chromosomal protein. Yeah. It binds chromatin, but it also has been thought to have some relationship to immunology and the inflammasome. So many people have tried to drug it for that. Anyway, that's a paper in hMGB1 if you want. And you have to read these as fast as you can without losing the valuable part of it, which is really hard. I don't envy anybody who wants to do this. It requires a huge amount of time, huge amount of effort, and indefatigable spirit. No, you never get tired. You just love it. And who doesn't love medicine? I mean, this is so interesting, right? Like, there's nothing more exciting than the amazing intricacies of the human body, the machinery that is within us. You know, it's really amazing stuff. So, you know, to read about it is a joy and a privilege if you have that kind of time. All right.
I'll take that.
Modulating phosphorylation by proximity-inducing modalities for cancer therapy. Sounds like a bad paper. Okay, here is an example of a paper you want to read. This is the discovery of AZD9574, which is a next-generation PARP inhibitor, okay? And you can tell who made this drug by seeing the name AZD. That's AstraZeneca development. And they already sell the market-leading PARP inhibitor 𝗕𝗏𝗄𝗏. So this is money in the bank. Now you need to be at MIT or purchase a license, or maybe you can find one of those websites that'll get you one. But this is you can read this entire thing about how did AstraZeneca invent and discover AZD9574. So when it's your turn to invent or discover a drug, or it's your turn to buy a drug, you know what to do, right? Vivek bought extremely valuable drugs, so did Martin Shkreli, for anywhere from 100 grand to 2 million. Now you might not have 2 million, but you know, guess what? At the time I bought my first drug for 2 million, I didn't have it either, right? That's what investors are for. And you tell them, I found a really good drug. I read about it in JMedChem. And it's a perfect drug. AstraZeneca doesn't want to do it anymore, but I want to do it. And you sound like you know what you're talking about, you might get that 2 million. Then you're off to the races. You got your very first medicine. You're about to become rich. You might even run for president. You might go to jail. Who knows what your life will have in store for you. But the point is, there's a lot of opportunity in these pages, but there's not a lot of people who want to read them. All right. This is melanocortin. It's a whole other interesting family of proteins. And again, you have to know your proteins. You have to know all of them. I'm not playing with you. Part 1 over here. Part 1, very important. Some of you are playing around. FLT3, another super important protein. How many proteins are there? Don't worry about that. There's a lot. About 20,000. But you can learn them all. How many words do you think you've learned? All right. All right. All right. Here's FLT3 drug. Could you purchase this? Possibly. Some of these Chinese companies very willing to give away their medicines to American companies. How do you find investors? That's a whole other story. Word of mouth. You know, there's a lot of ways. Start emailing, smiling, dialing, connecting, networking. Oh, I know so-and-so. You know, can I get a quick conference call with you to talk about this opportunity? Oh, how do you know so-and-so? I talk to them on Twitter. It's good enough, man. It's good enough. Get yourself a little warm intro. Semi-warm, even lukewarm. And you can get a conference call. And then you're really nice to that person. Now they're in your network. The next time you call somebody, say, oh, I know this person and that person. I say, oh, okay. Then you start launching into your whole spiel about your drug and what you want to do with it. And before you know it, you've made your first drug deal. And not the kind some of you degenerates already do. I'm giving you guys so much game, it's ridiculous. If the next Vivek wasn't born in this chat room, paper, these are great. I mean, these are great ideas for an entrepreneur. And even if you just want to be an investor, you got to read these things to understand medicine. You don't understand medicine? Good luck investing in medicine. You know, you got to learn the trade. There's other people that know the trade. Doesn't mean that they're going to be good investors, by the way, just because you learn the trade. You still got to have common sense, street smarts, you know what I mean? You have a little bit of both. Can't let somebody slide something past you. They finna slide it past you. I know these bromodomain inhibitors don't work. You think I didn't read the papers on 4-alkoxy-quinolines? You don't think I don't know my quinolines? Come on. You know what a quinoline is, right, guys? Quinoline or quinolone. Difference. Major difference. But there's your quinoline. You don't know this heterocycle? I don't want to know you. And you can put that in your chemistry file right here. You do everything just to keep learning and keep growing. Right, here's functional groups. Okay, make little flashcards. This is quinoline. Quinoline. All right, how about quinolone? Quinolone. That's 4-quinolone. You don't need to know all these functional groups, but let's try like a pyridine, some of the basics. Learn all your heterocycles. You get one of these. If you're a real boss, you get one of these and you print them out and you put it on your wall. And you'd be surprised at how friendly a lot of people are. I mean, Vivek's now an international celebrity, but you start researching some of these people in this industry and you call them up and you say, yeah, you know, I read everything I could about you and Vivek and Martin and this and that. They'd say, oh, that's great. You know, how can I help you? And you say, well, you know, I just want to make the connection and, you know, meet at a conference or whatever and hope to, you know, just put a face to the name. And if I have ideas here and there, I just want to throw them your way. For example, I want to talk about this stock right now. Do you have a minute? And, you know, make a friend. It's not that hard. Just pick up the phone. Don't be scared. Are you scared? I think you're scared. You scared of success? You got to be suffering from success. What rapper said that? I forget. I think that's Khaled. Suffering from success. Look at this, galectin-3. See? This is how you learn. We just made, how much did we make in Galt? $500,000? Or something like that. And they're right there. There's a paper about galectin. TLR7, the pharmaceutical graveyard. Over time, you'll see what papers are useful and what papers aren't. A bunch of these are not. Even journals have DEI requirements. Some people get published for all kinds of reasons. Ooh, HPK inhibitors. These have been disappointing, I think. This is Pfizer's HPK inhibitor. Pfizer will sell you any drug for $1 million. Pfizer loves to spend millions of dollars inventing a drug and basically give it away. So we don't want it anymore. Why'd you invent it then? Just in case. Word?
Autofill.
BFL1 inhibitors. See, here's one I don't know. Oh, BCL2 family member. Fascinating. And who? AstraZeneca. See, this target sucks. LSD1. that's been also drugged to death. Merck bought a company that did LSD1. I thought it was a mistake when I saw it. That was a typo, but they did it. Merck loves to waste money. When 𝗕𝗏𝗔𝗆 comes out, that's got to be like Christmas for you. 𝗕𝗏𝗔𝗆 is it, bruh. 𝗕𝗏𝗃 too. 𝗕𝗏𝗃's really good. Any one of these drugs might be the one that makes you a billionaire. I wish I was kidding. Any one of these might be it. Your job's to find it. Whatever it takes for you to get that capital. There's capital out there. If it's a good idea, somebody will give you that money. You can hire an investment bank. You ever heard of that? Yeah. Get an investment banker to believe in you. Go raise the capital. Don't be scared to get to the money at all times. Ooh, mGlu. Another drug discovery graveyard. Oh yeah, antipsychotic and procognition. Awesome. Wait, that's in a mouse? How'd you determine the mouse is not psychotic anymore? Did you determine that? Oh, the mouse is smarter now? Word. Would you give it an SAT test? Novo Nordisk paper. Correction. Okay, so that's one issue, 𝗕𝗏𝗃. How many papers was that? It's a lot. That was a lot. That's 42 papers. Well, 41 if you include the editorials, or 39 if you include the editorials, which, you know, is closer to maybe 37 papers. A couple of them you can not read off the bat, but that's